Hey everybody, it's Dina Rico with the Creativity Cave. I'm so excited to be stamping with you tonight. I have a really cool tip for you on how to create cards faster using printed paper, because I know you guys all hoard your printed paper just like I do, and I have a few awesome ideas to help you use some of that paper and make some really cool cards in the process. So this is actually something that I do each month in my Facebook class. So I'm kind of giving you a little sample of that. And I will also include the information for joining my Facebook class in the description of this video. So if you just click see more, you'll be able to see how that works. So what I do is each month I create a card layout, actually 3 card layouts per, well, I should say 9 card layouts per month. So you're sure to get tons of card inspiration. And what I do with those card layouts is I share with you what dimensions you need in order to make the projects. And then I show you how to incorporate that layout into actual cards and give you lots of samples along the way. So let me show you what I do. First of all, this is going to be our layout. So we're going to need a half a sheet of cardstock, which I folded in half. That's our black panel here. And then I have a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch piece of printed paper. And then I have a 3 by 2 of white and a 3 1/8 by 2 1/8 inch white. These are all inches, of course. And so those are the dimensions of the pieces that I use to make this card. Now, what I like to do is have the layout so that I can create this card over and over. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere these. Oops. I had my fast fuse out, I guess. All right, so I'm just going to adhere these 2 layers together. Now with my printed paper, I just have an old piece of printed paper here. But what I'm actually going to do with this is trim this piece down. And I'm just going to do an arbitrary angle. So I'm going to put the corner of this in here, and then I'll this is where I'm going to cut. And then I'm going to have the other piece just at a slight angle. Okay, and then when I trim that off, there we go. Okay, now I want the same angle on the other side. So what I'm going to do is take and line this up with the guidelines. So I've kind of got it in between, but it's parallel to this line right here, you can see. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut that little piece off. Okay, now if you want, you can measure in like a 1/2 inch from either side and go, from your mark to the point if you want, whatever works for you. But now I've got this piece of printed paper kind of cut at an angle. Isn't that cool? And what I'm going to do is adhere that directly to my card. And that is how I'm creating kind of a cool touch of printed paper on my card. Now, I'm going to show you a bunch of ways to incorporate this into actual cards. But what I'm also going to do is keep this little layout that I've just created, along with those dimensions, in a little file that I've got ready to go so that I can incorporate this into my cards when I'm stumped for ideas or I need to make something quick. I will have this little layout as a guide for myself. And that is what my Facebook classes are all about, is teaching you how to make cards quicker, teaching you how to use these layouts in your card making, as well as how to use your printed paper. And I also include lots of color combination ideas for you. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to incorporate that into a card that I'm going to make on my own. So to start with, I've got a 1/2 sheet of crumb cake cardstock. And then I'm going to take my 4 1/4 inch piece. I'll show you once more how I cut that. If you are a measuring kind of person, you can just measure in like a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch from either opposing side, and then just cut from that mark to that point. and then from this mark to this point, okay? But I am lazy, so I'm gonna do it this way where I just don't measure. And then if you don't measure, you just want to make sure you get a nice parallel line by using the grid marks on your trimmer. Most trimmers have these to line up that piece so that it is nice parallel angle cuts. Okay, so here is my printed paper. This is from our new Bird Ballad Suite. And I'm just going to adhere this to my card. I'm going to use that Free as a Bird stamp set that is part of that suite. And I'm actually, instead of using a bird stamp, I'm going to use some of the flowers in the stamp set. By the way, here's the stamp set. Free as a bird, so pretty. Okay, so what I want to do is, instead of taking that 3x2 inch piece of paper, I actually die cut one of these nested labels, stitch nested labels, because I think they're really cool. And I'm going to stamp them in my Memento ink and then color them in using my Stampin' Blends. So I just stamped one on either side of this one in the center, and then I'll add my sentiment. All of this is from the stamp set. Thank you. So cute. Okay. Now for coloring, I'm going to be using my So Saffron blends, which are new, and then my Petal Pink blends. So I always like starting with the dark color first. So I'm just going to put down some dark Petal Pink, and then I will blend this out. One thing too with these flowers, they're kind of sketchy, so I'm just going to I'm not being super careful with the color. In fact, I'm even leaving some white spots, and that's just fine. And again, we'll continue on with this. I'm going to add some of the dark lines in here. You can see I'm even just kind of scribbling, because that just sort of goes with the look of this flower, the image. And then I'll kind of continue that look with some lighter scribbles. And again, if you have some white spots on here, that's okay, no problem. And what I love about this too is this is quick, easy coloring, especially if you don't like coloring, but it still looks great. Okay, so that's really cute. Now I wanted to embellish these a little bit, so I've got my iridescent sequin assortment, and I'm just going to take and add with my glue dots, which right here, I'm going to add a couple of these sweet little sequins. So I just grabbed one of the kind of peachy corally ones, and I'm going to put that right in the center of that flower. And then I'll grab two of the yellow ones, and we'll put one of each of those in the center of the yellow flowers, the So Saffron flowers. So this just adds a little shine to my card. Now I'm going to pop this whole panel up, and don't worry, I've got several more ideas for you that we're going to put together. So you're getting lots of cards in one quick video today. Okay, so that's cute, but it's kind of plain, let's be honest. So what I want to do is add a little bit of ribbon to this. So I've got this gorgeous organdy striped ribbon, and I'm just going to do a loop of this right under here. We'll just kind of trim that off so it's nice. Kind of doing the ribbon, you know, like just a ribbon loop like that. And that will look fantastic right there. And I still feel like it needs just a little something. So I'm wondering if I can take that ribbon off for a second. going to set this on my silicone mat here just because there's adhesive on the back. And then there is a little leaf image in the stamp set, and I'm thinking I might just add a few leaves to this because I think that'll just kind of help fill it up a little bit. Sometimes you just gotta add a little something, you know what I mean? Okay, so I will stamp this in Memento, and I'm gonna add a leaf right there, a leaf right there, and a leaf right there. That looks better. Now we'll color those in quickly with our Old Olive blends. And for these, I'm just gonna add a little of the dark in the center, and then just like before, I'll blend those in just a bit. And then I think adding that green is a nice touch as well, to kind of just adding a little extra to this card. All right, there we go. Now I'll just take that off, and I can just wipe that clean with like a baby wipe if I need to. I'm gonna add this to my card with a little snail, like so. And then I will, oh, that's my husband saying hi. Then I'll add my little label right on top, and there's my card. Really simple. I've got a couple of really cute additional samples to share with you. This next one I actually have mostly done. So I cut the word happy out of the Christmas set, Merry Christmas to All, and the framelits that coordinate with this. And so I'm just going to stamp wishes, because that is the stamp that goes in here, in some Old Olive ink. Now this paper is so awesome, and I actually have another sample with this paper to share with you, actually a couple samples. So let me just stamp my wishes here real quick. This little label, by the way, is part of the framelits that coordinate with all this. So I'm just going to adhere these pieces together. So this paper is amazing. This is from the See a Silhouette printed paper. Lots of really bold, cool prints in this one. And actually, I need to fold my card first. I got a little ahead of myself. My husband was distracting me when he came in. All right, so I'm just going to fold my card, which is Blueberry Bushel, and then I added a 4x5 1/4 inch panel of Old Olive. And then I'll add that beautiful piece of printed paper to my card here. I pre-cut this one just to make it a little quicker. And then here I've got a stitched circle that I had die cut. And I'm going to add that right here. And then we'll add our happy and then wishes right underneath. So another way that I can use my silicone mat is to adhere things. And this is a really handy tip if you've never seen me do this before, because it's one of my faves. I'm just gonna squirt a little adhesive on here, and then I'll adhere my happy to that circle, and then I don't have adhesive all over myself, which is awesome. Okay, so there's my happy, and then I'm just gonna pop up the wishes with one of these edge pieces of my dimensionals. That fits perfectly on here, like so. I can never decide where to put this. There, that looks cute. So a really simple card with some printed paper. The next example I have features that same printed paper, and this time I die cut the word yay from the Praiseworthy Prose. This is the stamp set that has all the individual letters, so I just die cut those letters out and then used the sentiment out of here, and that also is in Blueberry Bushel. Same printed paper pack. And once again, I have this card that is featuring the Sia Silhouette or Silhouette Scenes stamp set. And I use the Sia Silhouette Designer Series paper. And then these are part of the bundle that goes with the stamp set. And let me show you how I got so there's this die, and you can see it's kind of curving this way, but it's also curving that way. Here's how I did that. First of all, I die cut this as is. Then I flipped this over and die cut it once again from the back side. And then when I turned that over, I've got it curving in the other direction. So I've got that version and that version. Isn't that cool? So there you go. A really cute card. And then last but not least, I have one more cute card to put together for you really quick. Got most of it done already. So in this one, I'm using the Woven Heirlooms bundle. Well, actually, just the printed paper, now that I think about it. I'm using the Path of Petals printed bundle. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with this one. It's really simple. So this printed paper is awesome. So I cut a piece that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it will cover the front of my card. Okay, and then I've got my angled piece, so we'll adhere that piece as well. And then I thought it would be kind of fun to change things up, so I'm going to turn this one on its side, and my card is actually going to go in this direction. Now I also die cut these 2 labels that are part of the bundle that goes with Path of Petals, and there's some really great sentiments that go with this. So I'm going to take and stamp my sentiment in Pretty Peacock. So this is Pretty Peacock and Purple Posy cardstock that I've got here. So I'll stamp that Pretty Peacock right over the top. So pretty. Isn't that awesome? All right, so I'm just going to add this. Oh, shoot, you know what? I was going to do something to this. Darn it. Let me see if I still can. I wanted to take and embellish this a little bit with some of this ribbon. This ribbon is so awesome. So I think I can sneak it under my printed paper. So I'm just going to put a glue dot on this end and then sneak it under here. Oh yeah, that's going to work awesome. And then I'll sneak a glue dot in under this side, like so. That looks good. And then we'll do the same thing over here. This one, I don't have quite as much leeway, so I might need to actually cut this in half. So I'll just go down the center of my ribbon, and then I'll slip this portion underneath and adhere with glue dots as well. Now, I don't know where you guys are, but it is so hot. Oh my gosh, it's been like 95, feels like 100 plus over the last several days. So I'm hoping they have promised thunderstorms. I'm hoping they will come through and cool things off for us, because oh my gosh, it's so hot, I'm melting. Okay, so I'm just going to trim the edges of that ribbon. And look, that adds just such a cool little touch. Okay, so let's finish up our card here. I've got my best wishes. I'm going to pop that layer up. And then I will pop this whole piece up as well. I just think this is so pretty. And this would make, of course, a wonderful wedding card. Okay, and we can even embellish it just a little further. I've got some of these cool faceted dots, and I think we could add a few of these to our card. I'm going to take my take your pick tool, and just going to put a couple right here, and maybe another one up there. And that just adds a little shimmer and shine to my card. Isn't that awesome? So I'll bring all of my cards back in that I shared with you. There's so many fun things you can do with this layout. Let me get rid of my glue so I don't stick anything together. But look at all these different cards, all with the same layout, just changing up the papers and the colors to get a little bit different looks each time. And then of course, here is our example so that we can use this in the future. And then I will just put my Post-it on the back so I know what the dimensions are so I can reference this again. So thanks so much for joining me. Again, if you would like to sign up for those Facebook classes, I highly recommend them. I can't tell you how many awesome comments I get month after month. The information is in the description of this video as well as on my blog. And then you can see all these pictures and the supplies I use to create all of these projects on my blog as well, or in the description of this video. Thanks so much for stamping with me today, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.